Turret reactor. Roll off.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of That Nerd Life podcast. Episode 4 now. I'm your host, Arvin Santiago. And once again, not joining me is my co-host, Robert Galvin, because Robert is in Minnesota.
Yeah, who cares what he's doing?
Minnesota. Yeah, he keeps telling us about it, but I think we don't really care.
No.
Because we're not there.
Minnesota might be a nice place someday, somewhere. Right?
For who?
I don't know. Minnesotans? Is that how you say people who live in Minnesota?
I don't know. Is it?
I have no idea.
We're just making that up. Anyway, so today joining me is John Wynn, who was on last week's podcast.
Yeah.
And I think you might actually replace Robert.
Yeah, I'll take over for now. Yeah, he's probably going to
See
be.
if he comes back next week.
No, he'll be staying in Minnesota.
I heard they got great Mexican food, according to him. Anyway, on this episode, we were invited to speak with the creators of a new
Say immersive
they call
theater interactive experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So along the lines of like Delusion and Creep LA, but something that's a little bit more further, right?
Yeah, this looks like it's like 24 rooms, and the experience is like 2.5 to 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Let's say Delusion is around an hour.
An hour.
Creep LA is like around 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just
and it's 2.5 to 3 hours with only 8 people at a time.
Yeah, that's a smaller group than Delusion.
Yeah.
And I think Creep LA had a smaller group too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for the upcoming Halloween season for those looking for their thrills.
It's a good time this season. It's like we have a lot of evolutions of the haunt experience. Like before, when we were younger, like all we knew about was
the mazes,
like the haunted maze, Not Scary Farm, Universal Studios, Halloween Horror Nights,
yeah,
Six Flags Fright Fest, and then you also have the other companies working on their stuff. Like some years ago, you got Sinister Point in Orange County, and you got there's the Queen Mary Dark Harbor, and then you have the
Haunted Hayride.
Haunted Hayride. I've never done that one.
Me either.
Yeah.
Because every time we pass by, it's long.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't want to wait.
Yeah, something about just it being called a hayride doesn't sound scary.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the Halloween Haunted Hayride.
I think the premise is you ride on a tractor, and it's like a maze.
So it's just kind of like the stuff you see in like the movies where the teenagers they go and then they're like they're on a little mini roll. It's not a roller coaster, but it's just
A wagon. We'll
a
call
wagon.
it a wagon.
Is it a wagon?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else you would call it.
I don't know because I've never done it, so I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm. But so this new immersive theater that's opening up in Los Angeles, it is created by Darren Bousman
Yeah.
and his producer partner, Gordon Bijelonic. And the place is called the Tension Experience Ascension, located in Boyle Heights. So yeah, we spent about an hour or so talking to them about it.
Yeah, it's pretty in-depth conversation. So we try to get like a lot of information from it as we can without it being spoilerish.
Yeah.
So I think we did a pretty good job of doing that.
Yeah, but I think in the hour or so they really got us interested inside of it.
Yeah.
Because you and I are big fans of things like this.
Yeah, it's ever since we've done like these immersive theater experiences, like I've done Delusion, we've done a lot of escape rooms.
Yeah.
The horror escape rooms. It's like we can't really go back to the stuff that everyone else does. It's just not the same because Not Scary Farm and Universal, like I still enjoy going there from time to time because I'm going to be going there. We're going to be covering it later this month, Not Scary Farm. Like some of the stuff they have is very cool, but this
you
one,
don't get really scared anymore.
I don't really get scared. Not like how they do it in escape rooms and with Delusion, these immersive theaters. It's like it's more intimate. You're in a smaller group, and this experience is catered towards you, so you feel like you're in.
You're
like
part of
a scary movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing they were telling us that it wasn't really scary. in a sense that people come out and try to scare you and things like that.
Yeah.
It's just it's geared to make you do things you don't want to do, and I think the way Gordon said it is it makes your skin crawl.
Yeah.
And pretty much it just fucks you up, like, mentally.
So
they were saying that like people quit halfway through.
yeah, depending on the room, and the thing that I like is that what Darren talks about is just pretty much whatever you think of that is your comfort zone. The Ascension takes that away. So let's say you're in a group of 8. In this group, you can't know the person that's in the group, so no friends allowed in the group. So you're there with 7 other strangers.
Yeah.
And then with that,
But-
you're also
and you're not really always together, the 7 of you. 'Cause
yeah.
by the way they made it sound is sometimes you'll be alone.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll be with one other person.
And with that, yeah, you're moving around. You could be by yourself, or you're going on a different path compared to others.
Mm-hmm.
And then the element of just no cell phones, and then your clothes is different. So you're like in a different outfit
Yeah.
with strangers on a 2.5-hour experience
In a giant warehouse.
in a giant warehouse, like with 24 rooms.
Yeah.
So it's just sounds fun.
Yeah. So, I think that's about it. Why don't we go ahead and get the show started?
Yeah.
So everybody could hear us speaking to Darren and Gordon about the tension experience.
All right, let's start it.
Yep. Let's start the show. Walking around this location, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's about a city block, right?
It's exactly a city square block.
Yeah. How'd you guys find this location?
Well, this has been the hardest. This is the tension behind the tension experience. We've been looking for a year.
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. We've been looking and looking and looking, and the problem is the landlords, no one wants to do a short-term lease.
Okay.
Everyone wants 3 years minimum, typically 5 years, especially for commercial, industrial type of space. And then when we told them we wanted it for 6 months to a year, they said, okay, good luck. And so we just kept looking and looking. There was times where we've had signed deals, and the landlord comes and he's excited to have us. He's like, wow, this is cool. And in the room, then all of a sudden he gets a phone call and somebody wants to lease the place for 3 years. And next thing you know, this one landlord says, well, the price just went up if you guys want the space.
We found an awesome place, not far from here, awesome. And we were excited. We were toasting. We were like high-fiving each other. And then we found out the guy like tripled the price on us.
He walks out the room and he goes, I'm going to let you guys discuss it. He saw how happy and excited we were, how bad we really wanted the space because it was like the picture-perfect location. And within 30 seconds, the deal was just dead. And as he said, why don't you guys take a walk outside and I'll be here, we just left, got in our cars, and just pulled away.
I think Gordon's exact phrase was "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. There's no nice way to put
But
it.
you know what's? I wish at times we would have made a photo book of what this place looked like before you guys are here right now. It was not only disgusting, but it was you couldn't walk through anything. It was piled high of machinery and cars and scrap metal and air horns. And it was horrific. And we walked in here, and I was like, how the hell can we do anything in this place? And it ended up taking them about 8 weeks to move everything out. 8 weeks to get all the crap out of here for us to move in. And then we spent about 8 weeks cleaning it to it almost being unrecognizable. If you'd have saw pictures from it literally a month and a half ago, you would not know you're in the same place. So it took us almost a total of 4 months to get from when we saw it to where it is right now to be able to make it manageable like this. And we're still not done cleaning it.
Just to get the scrap metal out. And basically, once that was all out, we were just left with 4 walls. The entire...
Everything you see is built. We built everything in here. Derek, who is our production designer, which has not been an easy task.
Let's go back, Darren. Your idea for this Like, where did it start? What was your inspiration?
It started a long time ago, years ago. I'm a huge theater dude. I majored in theater in college. I originally thought I was going to come to Los Angeles to be a theater director. Ironically, the first stage show that I ever directed was a little black box theater show called Repo the Genetic Opera, which ended up I turned into a movie. But I started as a stage director, and I did that way before I got the Saw movies. But I always loved theater that pressed the limits, I think. And there is theater that can make you wildly uncomfortable because there's an intimacy to theater that some movies can't give. And there was a play that I saw recently directed by Stuart Gordon, who is a very amazing filmmaker, the Reanimator series. And I'm blanking on the name of what it's called right now, but the basic premise was, it was a guy is a cannibal, makes a deal on Craigslist based on a true story to cook himself and allow himself to be eaten by another person. So the whole play is basically a dining room set and a kitchen, and you literally walk in and they're making food, so you smell everything they're making. And one of the big scenes in it is he cuts his dick off and he fries it, and they serve it. And I remember being so uncomfortable watching this play, and I don't feel that way in movies, but when you're there and you can smell the things and you can like hear the things sizzling and you can see the literal grease getting up, it makes you so uneasy. Mm-hmm. And I've always been attracted to that kind of stuff, and I think that though my defining factor in this was Sleep No More, which was a stage show I saw in New York some years back, which is an immersive theater production, which kind of changed the game for me. It was basically a warehouse you go into, and it's Macbeth being done through a 3-story warehouse that it's personalized, and they interact with you and they touch you and they look at you and they make you feel important and integral to the story. And I remember leaving New York saying, I want to do the dark, macabre, horror version of immersive theater. And I've been working on it ever since. And Gordon, ironically, was one of the first guys I pitched it to. And we both were busy with other projects. And I think 2 years passed from when I first pitched it to you to when he calls me up, like, I don't know, a year after the first time I pitched it to him, and he goes, let's go do that thing called Tension. Because at that point, Gordon started seeing all the articles about immersive theater.
So, yeah. I mean, I kind of came late to the party. Darren sent me this script about 3 years ago called Tension. And the script takes place in the world of immersive theater. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I didn't know anything about immersive theater. And when I read the script, it's about 4 participants, 4 good friends. On Halloween night, they actually go to an immersive theater experience. So when they go in...
Spoilers. That's okay.
Well, anyway, he did a great job in writing a great script where this world, the immersive theater, takes place. And I said, wow, does this kind of places really exist? And then I went to his house, and for 3 hours, he's in my head about Blackout, Sleep No More, Alone, Delusion, and even McCamey Manor. And I was like, holy shit, 18,000 people waiting to do this? You're out of your fucking mind. And I loved it. I said, I'm in. And so I love the fact that we have a film component to it and that we're doing the immersive theatrical production first, because at the end of the day, because this is such a gargantuan site, we're going to use it for our set piece in our film. This will kind of be our soundstage because we've built out 24 rooms already.
And that's a lot of rooms.
Yeah. It's an addictive thing. The writer, my co-writer on the Tension movie, a guy named Scott Milan, who wrote Mother's Day, it was funny because he didn't know this existed. I was like, no, you got just go look at this. And once you kind of go down the rabbit hole of immersive experiences, you become addicted. And it's, if you actually do some of these things, if you do Blackout, if you do Sleep No More, you just get immersed. That's the best word for it, because you surround yourself in it, and I became addicted. Like, I flew all over the world. I went to Japan, and I went to the UK, and I went to London. I went to all these different places that I could go to see these different immersive experiences. And it was awesome because I've never felt more connected to narrative storytelling than I have in the middle, in a dark theater, walking around, being manipulated and touched by actors, feeling like the story's happening for me. which a lot of narrative things don't do. I feel like I'm watching and I'm a passive participant. But with immersive theater, it's happening with you as a part of it, as a central character.
So have you tried Blackout and Delusion?
I have not. I've tried Alone. Was my first one that I've experienced, and every time I try to go, I'm traveling 9 months out of the year. So
Well, most of them are sold out, too.
They're sold out.
Yeah.
The problem is they're sold out well in advance, and it's hard for me to commit when I don't know when I'm getting on a plane and traveling.
Well, even Delusion, Delusion tickets went on sale like 3 weeks ago, and they were sold out within like a week. And so like we've been working around the clock, and I was like, we got to go to Delusion, and I go try to get a ticket, and they're sold out for the entire
Yeah,
Halloween
that's
season,
that's the same for us. We've been trying to get tickets to Delusion. And
Well,
Yeah.
Just let me know if you're down for Delusion.
Yeah.
I can probably help you guys in.
We are. I am.
All right.
I'm dying to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
John.
talk later.
Okay.
Yeah, it's but I mean I've done all the Blackout shows. I've
Yeah.
done all the Delusion shows up to this point. And I think this is different, and this is what's exciting. Is I love those guys. I love the creators behind them. John Braver was one of the first guys that I met, the creator of Delusion, and I called him and I was like, I want to sit down with you. Like I'm fascinated by this. He was such an awesome dude. He sat down with me and we talked. We became friends. And he actually, when he was out scouting for locations 2 years ago, he brought me and was like, I was out scouting locations, and he was so just amazing in kind of this wealth of information. I also met with the creators of Blackout 2 to 3 years ago. And I was like a fanboy, and I think it was kind of weird because, here I was coming off some big movies, and I'm fanboying out when I'm sitting across from these creators, and I think that it was probably weird for them because I was literally giddy and asking them questions. But I think that I have such respect for what they do now because putting these up is not easy. They're not. I mean, what you're sitting in right now is a goddamn miracle this even exists.
Yeah.
Because it's first off, the cloak and dagger nature of what we're doing, like we don't talk about it. Up until now, that we haven't really said anything about it, because I think part of what makes this cool is the secrecy behind what it is. So it makes it hard to promote. We don't want to herd people through like cattle. I don't want to be like Universal Studios Horror Nights, which I love. I go to every Halloween. But there's nothing scary about that. You're in a small little room with 1,000 people in front of you, 1,000 people behind you, and you're being pushed forward. We wanted to tailor this. We wanted to make this exclusive. We wanted to make it special for the people that bought a ticket. And that does two things. It makes the ticket prices be higher because we have to put less people through a night. And the mere fact to be able to get insurance and be able to do what we're trying to do, it's expensive things. So you're against all of these obstacles. You can't talk about it. You have to charge a higher dollar ticket price. You can only put a certain amount of people through a night. So there's all of these kind of hurdles that we're going through, and the mere fact that you're even here now and it exists is insane. So it's crazy now. I have a lot of respect for these people that have been doing it for years.
Yeah, I was just talking to just a bunch of buddies of mine about like the ticket price. $120. So they were pretty iffy about it, just in terms of that. Are you worried about that? Trying to
No, because I've thought about this a lot. No, and I'll tell you why not. Is because art costs money. This is a business. This is a business, and the business is, do the math. Look where you are right now. Look at the rooms. There's 26 rooms here. Mm-hmm. There's 40 actors here. There's 25 crew members here. The most amount of people we can put through a night. We do it in groups of 8. They start every hour. Do the math.
Yeah.
This is not.
We're
not
maxed out at 88 people a night. Mm-hmm. And so when you really look at it, the price point, and again, we feel we priced it in the middle of most experiences. There was a great New York Times article called Starring Me that was published on January 7th. And she reviews about 10 to 15 of these immersive theatrical experiences just in Manhattan. They're anywhere from as low as $25 to as high as $200. Mm-hmm. So the price point was based on two things. We kind of looked at what the rest of these are going for, but also the level of investment that we're putting into this, the amount of crew, the amount of actors, the amount of people, and they're paying for that experience. And this is a tailor-made experience. This isn't just something that you're going into. Like Darren did a great job with the other writer, creating a real 3-act structure and still having a narrative, and we're continuing with the narrative from the beginning to the end.
Well, I think here's my kind of thing to that, as I hope everyone gets to come see it. I really would, but this isn't for everyone. It's not. If you want the cheap thrills and the $20 haunted house, they exist for you. This isn't that. This is not for everyone, and I think that this is for a very specific group of people that are willing to put themselves through some insane, crazy, weird shit, and it is a higher dollar ticket price. And I think that the exclusivity of it is also kind of important because I I don't want to be like everyone else out there. There's no cheap Halloween masks here. There's no cheap plastic props here. Everything you see, if you walk through the lobby, if you walk through whatever, everything is archaic. It's ancient. It's antique. It's everything that we're doing with the actors. This is not and it's also not a 20-minute haunted house. This is a 2.5 hour up to 3 hour haunted house, immersive walkthrough experience. So it's not like everyone else. And when you look at what some of these other extremes are charging, they're charging $125 for a 30-minute experience. We're charging $125 for a 2.5 to 3 hour experience.
Yeah. And going off what you said, sitting front row at the Pantages Theater.
This is front row.
2-3 hour show costs you upwards of $150, $175.
More than that.
Yeah.
I spent the Pantages. We just got tickets, my wife and I, and you're looking at $300 for that. And
all you're doing is really sitting in the front row.
Yeah, this is they are not only interacting with you, you are a part of our show. Mm-hmm. And I also think my wife and I go out to dinner. If I go out to dinner and I go out to drinks with my wife and I get a babysitter, I'm spending a lot more than this coming to an event. And I always walk away from those events with my wife upset and kind of like, I'm like, why did we just pay for a babysitter and see this movie that will be on Netflix in 2 months and have shitty food that I could have had better food if you made? And I always kind of walk away underwhelmed, and it's the same thing. This is different. This is not, I guarantee no one's done something like this, meaning that on a Friday night, this doesn't exist anywhere else. What you will go through does not exist anywhere else. And so I think that, again, that costs more money because it is the amount of people that it takes to pull this thing off, and you'll see if you come through it. It takes an army, and there's an army of people here kind of putting this thing on. And I think that for us, this is a test, and it is basically, I did this with Repo and Devil's Carnival. Fuck playing their game, I'm going to make my own game. And that's what it is this isn't about trying to conform to what every other haunted house is doing or everyone else is doing. We said, that works for them, great, good luck. We're going to do our own thing. And that thing is, we're going to build a warehouse, and we're going to put a world inside it, and then we're going to shoot a movie on that world, and then we're going to make a multimedia online component to that world. And we're going to basically multiversing out these ideas. And this is the first of that.
Yeah. And we've done just like this year, a lot of escape rooms are popping up, and I've done Delusion, so I'm digging this whole immersive theater. It's like you feel like you're part of something instead of like what you said, like you're watching a movie, you're just outside. Here, you're pretty much like the main character, yeah. And that's what I like about it. And for me at least, the pricing I think is reasonable.
Yeah.
And I think that the true test is going to be belief here. Here's the other thing I'll say that. Tension is not new. We didn't just pop up last week. We've been doing this now for almost a year underground with these pop-up events that we never charge $1 for. And I'll tell you right now that this is where I have mad props for Gordon and our investors on this, is that they probably put in, I don't want to say a number, but tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars that we did to basically, we didn't charge, anyone could have done it. Anyone could have done it. We had numerous events, free events, and we had an ARG going on that lasted 6 months where you got to interact with characters, and you got to meet them and go to lunch with them and have phone calls with them and meet them in parks, and you got diaries and you got notes and you got letters, and we showed up to your door. We had hundreds of people working on this for free.
We started this back in November, where we actually Darren started creating these little mini tension experiences, and I said, well, what's the reason for this? He goes, we need to grow this organically. We need to drop the seed, and we need to see if we're going to get anyone that's going to be even remotely interested. So we set up the message boards, even to the website. Like, the great thing about the website was you had to go to the site and you had to decipher a code just to get in. And that gave us some pretty good data. Some people cracked the code in 30 seconds, and someone like myself took me 20 minutes. I'm like, Darren, enough already. I need to get in this site. I want to see what it looks like. And so, people were spending 5, 10, 15 minutes, and that was letting us know that they were really interested in this. And so we started doing these. We did at least a half a dozen of these experiences all over the city where we hired actors.
Well, here's the thing is I think we did 7 or 8 where we involved a lot of people. We did, I would say, 20 that we involved individual people. Like, I'll give you an example of something we did. We found out one of our fans lived in Kansas City. I'm from Kansas City, so we hired people in Kansas City to do a tailor-made thing for this fan in Kansas City. We had people in San Diego, San Francisco, that were literally hiring actors out of state, out of cities, to go and involve the audience and do this thing. And I think that, so in that respect, like, the amount that went in prior to this thing even opening up, whatever it was, again, as Gordon said, it was to I guess, organically start the fan base. It was to organically start the narrative in the world. And now here we are. Now people, I think, I've heard critiques on the pricing point of this, but my thing is this: don't come to us. There's a million other things you can go to that I'm sure are more in the price range. There are free haunts at home, but this isn't for them. It's the difference again about the car you drive. You don't have to buy the Bentley. You could buy, like my car. I have a very modest car because I choose to drive that, and that's what I can drive. But this isn't for everyone, and I think that. But for those people that it is for, I think they're going to love it. I think that it's something that, again, I wish everyone can come to it, but the reality is that's not what we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, going through this for the 2.5, 3 hours, what's the main thing that you want each of your participants to come out with?
Different for everyone. You got to come through and say that. That's like asking to. I can't give you the through line of this until you do it, but it is not. We are not extreme in the way that we're not going to punch you in the face, kick you in the balls, and then pour blood on you. It's not what this is. This is. I'm
going to jump in for a second because everyone says, "Wow!" This now they're seeing the articles and all on my network, and my friends are like, "Wow, you're into this. This is crazy, and this is going to be scary as hell." And I go, "No, there's nothing scary about this. It's not like a typical horror genre type of IP. It's actually tension because it's going to make you tense. It's going to 100% make you feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You're going to walk out of here and it's going to make your skin crawl, but there's nothing horror-ish about this. It's really an experience, and it's going to make you scratch your head. You're going to be like, okay, wow,
it's
these
like
guys...
being trapped in a David Lynch nightmare. That's the way to describe it.
That's not good.
Yeah.
The thing that I like about how you guys are setting up the group, like the person cannot know another person in the group, which is different from, let's say, Delusion, but kind of similar with Blackout where you have to like go in it by yourself.
Yeah.
So why did you want to do that compared to just having like friends along and share the journey?
I mean, if they wanted to manipulate and figure out their tickets, anyone can go how they want, but we wanted to make it individual tickets. You had to buy one at a time. Thing is this, is that part, you asked what the theme was, and I can tell you part of the theme is be present, be here, be now. Don't be with comfort. Don't be with the things that make you comfortable, because when you're comfort, you become complacent. When you become complacent, you become lazy. So the idea is, part of this is break away from the things that make you comfortable and journey into things that make you uncomfortable. Friends make you comfortable, and cell phones make you comfortable. The clothes you wear make you comfortable. So the idea of the OOA Institute is to strip away everything that makes you comfortable and make you face being out of your element, out of the creature comforts of your life.
Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, because like we've done escape rooms. I don't know. Have you guys done any of the escape rooms?
We've actually we've done Escape LA together.
We did the basement. We did. We've done a bunch as a group here. I just did Escape Hotel, which those guys are great. I've done quite a few of them.
I think Escape Hotel's our favorite
Yeah.
place out here.
They're really nice guys, too. We actually were there right when they opened. We were actually one of the first people. They had us come a few days early, and they were great. And I think that, and again, mad respect for getting to open. First, they have a great location, and the production design is fantastic there. It's great.
Would you say that there is any influence of escape rooms for?
Oh, yeah. There's an escape room here, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to tell you there ain't no other escape room like it, and it will upset a lot of people. It will make some people very uncomfortable. I won't tell you the scenes where this has happened, but we've run some beta testing through here. In the first 8 minutes, we had 2 people quit, and not because they're scared. It's not scary. It's just uncomfortable. And one of the places that we've lost some people is the escape room part, because it requires stepping out of your comfort zone and having to do things that might make you feel at odds.
My mind's just going crazy, just thinking about what this is.
Well, I think it's a hybrid in the immersive theater space. I think we are part escape room, we're part haunt, we're part total immersive theater. So it's a combination of all three. And I think that's what makes this different. And Darren added a ton of layers to this.
I'll tell you one thing that you have to do is you have to gain clues, but I'm not telling you how to gain them. So you might meet someone in the very beginning that tells you something that if you remember what he told you and you use it 6 rooms down the road, it might, like for example, so I'm making this up, but someone might say, tell her flowers. And then you're like, what? Tell her flowers. And then down the road, you'll meet someone in a corner that says, say the word, say the word, say the word. And you're like, wait, what does that mean? And if you say the word that you heard back there to her, she'll unlock a door and take you in a different room that no one else gets to go into.
Wow.
And so there are all kinds of that over here. So the idea of the escape room is through the entire journey if you know how to unlock it. I mean, there are trapdoors everywhere in these places. You have to know how to find them, where they are, and how to open them. And so, and some of those rooms are unlockable, and some, you have to have various special keys to get in them. But part of this, for me, was like a movie. I love rewatch value. I love the idea that when I see my favorite movie, I can go back and watch it and say, oh, I didn't see that or that or that or that. This is here, too, that if you go through it, and you go through with a group of people, you can talk when you get out, and you guys aren't going to have the exact story. There's going to be very large differences between the narrative that happened to you. And I think that that's awesome because that will hopefully make people want to come back and say, wait a minute, I got to do that again. I'm going to try to do this time.
That's if they can come back because you keep selling out the tickets. So.
It's a good problem to have, though.
Yeah.
Now you said there's about 24, 26 different rooms here. When you created it, did you already have that in mind that it was going to be that much? Or did you just kind of start stacking and layering?
I'll be honest. The script...
Actually, no. Initially, we were going with half the size of the space, and we were working with half the actors. And then once Darren saw the space that I found, and he saw the size of it, he just went bananas. He just says, holy shit, I'm in heaven. And this thing just mushroomed into twice as big as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So, again, I'm only as good as the people that I surround myself with. And I had a great writer who, there's no way I could write this by myself. This was way too fucking big, and this is what it's going to come down to. The original idea was a 27 or 28 page treatment of what the immersive experience would be. About a weekend, I had a breakdown, and I was like, I need to bring someone else on. So I brought my writing partner, Clint Sears. He wrote my episode of Tales of Halloween. He wrote a few films that I've actually done recently. I just got back from Japan, and he wrote the Japanese TV show I did. So him and I sat down and started talking. And he's not here, so he has no concept of budget. And so he's just writing rooms. And then all of a sudden I'm coming into the production, and they're like, where the fuck? That room wasn't here last week.
No, it's a 400-page script.
Yeah, and so the script
It's a 400-page script is all I can say.
Bigger and bigger and bigger. And so that happened. And then it's crazy because then when we started rehearsing, I brought in Emily Autumn. And if you don't know who Emily Autumn is, look her up. She's a rock star, a literal rock star, and she's here helping me. And she walked through everything, and she goes, Nope. We need pretty girls. We need younger, blah, blah, blah. So she helped sex everything up for me, which I had none. My original cast was all 75-year-old actors. So then I started hearing from these creative people, like, you did this, and this. And all of a sudden, Gordon and I came in one day and we realized we created like this city block of just insanity. It was supposed to be kind of like this, and then it became huge. So, but I think it's awesome.
So I'm getting a sense of, you got originally the older actors, and you got now the younger, sexy ones. So it's like
well, it's not. They were always there, but never to the degree of which I guess I originally. They're being used now in a much better way than I originally had them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we have young and old.
It's definitely an eclectic group of actors for sure. Yeah. Very eclectic.
Yeah.
And the actors are intended to sort of blend in with the audience, right?
No, not really. I think that. You'll know who an actor is here. Okay. Most of them are over 70, so you'll know. No, but the actors are great, and that's the thing which is crazy about this is when you're casting this many people, there's always weak links. Not here, and that's what's so crazy about it is the casting director, this guy Tamlin. I don't know how he did it, but every single person I'm in love with, and I'm just like, fuck, these guys are great, like they're amazing. Yeah, and I think that's part of what makes it uncomfortable is when you're in here and you're having to interact with some of these people and they're saying some of the things that they're saying. It just puts you immediately, and I feel like I'm talking to my grandmother, and she's saying horrible things to me that make me want to cry. So the actors are fantastic.
I was wondering, can you tell us how many actors are involved in this production? A lot? I mean, like 100?
Well, no, 40. We have 40.
There's more than that because we've cast over 70, but there's 40 at any given time that are in here. Maybe there's more than that. There's 43 or 44, but then there's some that you have to find, meaning that. Like there's main players and then there's players that you have to unlock, and it's almost like a game if you could figure out how to get to them. There's other characters here, but you could meet up to 40 people if you come through, maybe more if you know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Wow, it's pretty crazy. Like the actors, like just many. I'm concerned about whether like it would be like a nice transition from actor to actor, or.
What do you mean by transition?
Just like you go from room to room, like the theme, if it's all going to fit together.
I don't know. Come and see. But this is not. I mean, again, this isn't delusion. This is not. this isn't, which Delusion does, I think, brilliantly in such an artistic way. And this also isn't a stage play. It's not what this is. This is a cross between kind of everything. It's I struggle to find a word to put it in outside of game, maybe. No, it's not going to flow together. It will be disorienting and disjointed, and that's part of what this is. And you'll see as if you come through it. It's the whole idea is I don't want you to ever feel ease. I don't ever want you to feel like, oh, I get it. I know what's happening now. Okay, I'm in a thing. We're never going to do that to you. The minute you start to feel like you understand it, we're going to fuck you up and push you in a different direction. That's kind of part of the whole thing.
Wow.
So, Darren, a lot of people know you from doing the Saw movies.
Mm-hmm.
Did you use any of those elements to kind of create some of the rooms here, or some of the elements?
No, but I will say, obviously I spent so long in the Saw universe. That's part of who I am. So I think there's me in all these rooms, and so because of that, there will be Saw in some of these rooms. But I think more than anything, you'll see more. Yeah, it's a hard thing. It's hard because I don't want to spoil things. There are moments that if you're a fan of my movies, you'll definitely see homages.
Okay.
One thing Darren doesn't lack is imagination. He's got a pretty sick, twisted fucking mind, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for torture devices somewhere.
Gotta watch it. You gotta come through it. I don't know.
So how long are you guys planning to have this going on for? Is it just for like the Halloween season, or is it something year round?
Here's the idea. Obviously, we'll stay open as long as people buy tickets, but the overall goal that I pitched Gordon originally is a year-long thing that changes every quarter. So we're tension right now. If this works, we become adrenaline, and then it becomes lust, and then it becomes nefarious, and it goes on and on and on. Each name is a different style.
I got seduced by this because initially this one is tension-based, making you tense. The next one is adrenaline for the thrill seekers. Third one being lust, more sexually oriented. But the way I looked at it, the way I approached it is, if we've done our job right creatively, we can become the Cirque du Soleil of this world. Mm-hmm. And that's what we'd like to do. We'd like to take this to Miami. We'd like to take this to New York. We'd like to take this to Chicago and truly be the Cirque du Soleil. And again, every quarter, every 6 months, changing the theme, changing the immersive experience.
So imagine this. I think that I've always loved and looked for new ways as a storyteller to tell narrative stories. I think that for me, what I want to do is, more so than anything, engage the audience. That's it, engage them. Instead of projecting images and saying, look at my images, look at this, I want to put them in the middle of everything. So what I said to Gordon is, let's take an idea for a movie, a story. So in this case, immersive theater and this tension idea. Let's make a movie, let's write a script, a narrative feature film, which is Scott Milam and I wrote. And then let's create a immersive experience based off of it, a thing that Clint Sears and I wrote. Then let's make a video game component of that, an online ARG component. Mm-hmm. So all three narratives are separate, but they all connect in the same universe. So if you were part of the ARG that I was doing, the storylines and the threads will carry over into this. You don't have to have done it, but they carry over. The movie will carry over storylines from both of those into that. So I want to create IPs and be able to create multi-platform narratives being taken and told at the exact same time of that. So that way, you don't have to be in Los Angeles. You can be in Prague or New York or San Francisco, and you can follow along on the ARG component, on the web app component, on the movie component, but you might miss the immersive component.
Yeah.
So it was to basically exploit one IP and make the audience the center of it all.
I think they're really good. The idea, the concept that really grabs me is that the fact that you're tailor making this per player every time they come through, because the problem with escape rooms and other like mazes is because once you go through it, that's it.
You got the secret sauce.
There's no way you can really go back and experience something else. And I think that's what really is going to really hook people, that you could come here 1 week and then next week it could be totally different for you again.
Yeah, it's a lot based on, and again, I think it's how much the audience is willing to give themselves over to us. And I remember that when I went to Sleep No More the first time, which is like, to me, Sleep No More is the granddaddy. It's the like creme de la creme of these type of things. I went 5 times within one trip to New York, and every time I saw something different. I was like, what the fuck? And I'd go back again, and I couldn't find what I saw the first time. And to me, that was exciting, because that meant it was bigger than me. It was bigger than what I had the ability to uncover in one time. And I love things that are bigger than me that I can't figure out because it leaves me to talk and it leaves me to want to explore. If you saw it in one pass, then what's there to talk about? You've seen it. You've all experienced the same shit. I want it to be so when you walk out of here, you're with 4 people and like, wait, you were fucking in a classroom and there was what the guy there?
Yeah.
There was no classroom. No, there was. Wait, you were in the red room with X, Y, and Z? Where was the fucking red room? So that's the idea of this, is that it's requires you to come back to see different new things.
So one person is not going to go through all rooms
you can't.
in 2.5, 3 hours.
No.
Okay. Wow,
No.
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I want to know about the cop incidents when you guys were running it, and then I guess.
Yeah, we had a few people that took this a little too seriously, and I think that I never wanted to reveal myself. Even now I wish that no one knew who I was. And the reason why behind that was I wanted this to exist based on what it was, not because of who we were. But part of the problem with not putting yourselves out in front of it was some people took it as real. And in the very early days, in the very first month or two, we were very good about not breaking the fourth wall and saying things that made a lot of people question if we were real, including people that were very big into the horror world and the haunt world. Start to question that maybe we were a front for a real organization, maybe we were an actual cult that was using this as a fake kind of thing to get people in. And some people crossed the line and went way too far with us. It's fine if an audience member wants to play back and do whatever, but that wasn't what was happening. We were getting death threats, real death threats. We were getting people that were making some very scary kind of proclamations that we had to involve the police a few times on. Listen, I can take a lot of shit. I'm fine, play with me, whatever. But these crossed lines. These were personal attacks about family members, addresses, things like that we were not okay with.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of pushed us out of hiding a little bit, that we had to basically say, hey, guys, it's me. I'm not a real cult. I don't really do X, Y, and Z. So yeah, that was one of the things. Some of our early experiences, people got really upset. We had cops calling on us twice on some of our early experiences. Luckily, Gordon had off-duty police officers, so when the minute the cops were called or came, they were quickly said, okay, hey,
Diffused,
it
yeah.
was diffused. But yeah, we had some people that had trouble distinguishing if it was real or not.
Yeah, and I think that's when we started to get the death threats, because one of the guys who initially signed up all of a sudden started to think that this was an actual cult and that it was a satanic cult. And so he started to make death threats on our Facebook page. And Darren calls me up and he's like, Gordon, we just can't let this go. We just, we looked at the guy's Facebook profile.
What was scary was he wasn't hiding who he was. Like, if he was making death threats under, like, Scary Guy 18, whatever, I don't care about that. He was his name, and his name was a real person, and his real person was, he left his phone number, and if you reverse Googled his phone number, it was who he really lived. And so we realized if a guy is doing that right now and doesn't care to hide himself, he doesn't give a fuck. Like, that guy, that's a crazy guy.
Yeah.
And so he was not only making threats on our page, he was making threats on other participants' pages. And that's where it crossed a line for me that I was like, that's not okay. Because regardless of how crazy what we do is, it's safe. And when you introduce something like that, it's toxic and it makes things unsafe. And so we had to quickly nip that in the bud.
Yeah, that's the thing with these things. It's like you go in it, you know that it's a show, and you just want to have, just have fun with it. Yeah. And yeah, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
Now, Gordon, are we going to see you as part of the play? Are you going to be an actor?
No, not at all. My hands are full as it is.
Now, walking through this, I could see that the set design is great. The room we're in right now, it's creepy. How did you guys find the artistic director who designed all these?
Derek Hinman has been my art director now for a few years. He started with me on Devil's Carnival 1, did the Emiliata music video with me, and then did Devil's Carnival 2. I've worked with him on a few other projects. I like working with people that I'm friends with because I know there's no bullshit, and I know that there's a shorthand, and they become like family. And so Derek is a guy that I just knew could handle something like this.
Yeah, he's done a phenomenal job. He blew me away with the set design in some of these rooms.
Yeah, because Darren, you came
The
through
attention
that
to
back
detail.
door. I didn't even realize that was a door the entire time.
Yeah. There's a lot of secret rooms here that you have to find and know how to get to them.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, we've been spoiled by one.
What's that?
I said we've been spoiled by one.
I know.
But
Well, even that behind you will actually work when you're in this room. If you,
Projector, yeah. If you
but
can
it's
figure-
through dialogue that's happening in here. We either get to see that come on or you don't.
Yeah, you have to figure out how to turn it on and to see what's on there that will lead you somewhere else if you know how to use it and how to get it to work. And so it's a big puzzle. You just have to figure out how to unlock it.
And the players don't have like a guide with them, right?
No.
They're all on
You're
their
told
own.
nothing.
Okay.
are you worried about like the participants messing things up? If they're like, do you guys give like a clear direction on what they
We
can or
have
can't
so
do?
many cameras in this place, it's not even funny. Like, there's literally hundreds of cameras everywhere that we're watching everything.
Mhm.
So if someone's in here trying to destroy the room, they're getting kicked out. I mean, we'll come through the trap doors that you don't know exist, and
Yeah.
you don't know. So no, I'm not worried about it.
Okay. So you guys
We have a lot
gotta
of
keep.
security here too, to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, because some people can be unruly or maybe they're under the influence.
That's the other thing, is I don't think that will happen with us, because we take precautions that you'll see once you don't just come here. This is not something you want to show up at. There's a whole series of things that you're vetted before you walk in our doors. And so people will be turned away if that happens.
So you guys open officially next Thursday.
The 15th is the.
The first day you can buy tickets to the 15th. We've sold out, so we have friends and family for the next couple of weeks. I think
Okay.
the first, then we have like press days, and then the 15th is the first day the public comes in. But we're still rehearsing. We rehearse like seriously 12, 15 hours a day every day.
And you've beta tested this place already?
Yeah. So we're still doing it. I mean, you got to do it 1,000 times because there's so many variables of what could happen. Like if an
Yeah.
actor does, if a participant does this, you do this. If a participant does this, you do this. So you can't rehearse it one time. That's the problem. Is like when you rehearse a scene, normally you just go through the scene. With this, you have to rehearse that scene 15 times and say, okay, now the person says this to you. What do you do?
Yeah.
Now the person
Wow.
says this to you. What do you do?
That's very different because like, let's say for, Delusion is very linear. So this feels like just like a video game where it can go anywhere.
You could be taken. Listen, you can't just wildly roam around here, but if every desk, every actor, every participant, every person you come in contact with has various scenes that they might give you depending on how and where and what you say to them. So you could walk up to someone in the hallway and say something to them and they might give you scene 1. You might say something to them and they might go to scene 4. You don't know. If you get scene 4, that might give you a clue that you didn't get the first time you came, and now all of a sudden you're sent into a back room that you didn't even know existed.
How long did it take you guys to find all your actors?
That one actually came quick. About a month. We got
Month.
one in about a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're all, you would say, over 70?
No, I mean, I'm joking.
No,
There's
there's a good amount of them are.
Yeah.
we have. I would say there's we have probably 12 to 15, 20-year-olds maybe, and then they're kind of spanning age range.
So you're busy working on this. Will there ever be like in the future to do more of the Saw or horror films or Hollywood films?
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaving here this weekend. I got a film festival I'm showing Abattoir at. Tension the movie, which will be a horror film. So yeah, they're still happening. They're still going to happen. Guys, I'm going to leave you with Gordon. I have to go run a rehearsal, but I want to say thank you for having me, and for your listeners out there, thank you for listening. And again, as I mentioned, this is a weird, crazy, out-of-the-box thing. I would love to tell you in a sentence what it is or compare it to something. I can't. It's so hard. I can't do it. It's come experience it for yourself. It's weird. That's all I can really say.
And tickets go on sale?
Tickets are on sale now.
Tickets are on sale.
tensionexperience.com.
Well, Darren, thank you.
I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys so much.
you.
And thank you for doing this with us.
Of course, man. I really appreciate it.
So, Gordon, quick question for you. You guys were saying that there's going to be, after Ascension, there's going to be more things that you're going to be doing, like adrenaline stuff. Is it all going to be here, or is it going to be at different places?
Yeah, the intention, the goal is to be here. It's a great location. It's a fantastic location. It definitely in scope of size, exactly what we need. And so we're going to run it as long as tickets keep selling.
Yeah.
And then again, when you look at Sleep No More, it started off as a 6-month production. 6 years later, it's still running. We're starting off as a 6-month to 12-month production.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Hopefully 3 years from now, we're still here having the same conversation or a different
Oh, yeah,
conversation. And this has become so successful that we are looking for another location to do the tension version of adrenaline, to do the tension version of lust, and so on and so forth with the different concepts. Because again, to me, my background is film. And I'm actually a New York theater trained actor. I studied for many years at William Esper Studios. I did 2 years of movement in the theater district, Lloyd Williamson Technique. I came out here. I was at the Beverly Hills Playhouse with Milton Katsalis. So for me, I've always loved live theater. I've always went to Broadway and off-Broadway and off-Broadway. And I think the one thing Los Angeles lacked was some sort of theater community. I wish I would have known about this 5 years ago, because I would have been participating in it. And Darren's the one who turned me on to this world, and I'm blown away by it. And I think it's an exciting time, because I think now it's at that tipping point where it's going from being this underground, great, fully immersive experience to now more mainstream, where I think a lot more newer people will get turned on to this.
Yeah, because I think, after doing an escape room and delusion, blackout and things, so that person is always going to look for the next best thing, because that whole immersive thing gets them addicted. And I think something like this.
Well, and the other thing, again, the reason why I kind of really responded to this favorably was also the fact that there's a movie component to each one of these. Because again, what I do is, as I'm a film producer, I've been producing and financing movies for the last 20 years. And so what was seductive was the fact that we can do this immersive experience and then use all this location, all this money that we spent building this location into the movie. So we're kind of offsetting and mitigating our exposure on the experience, and we're also offsetting the exposure on the film. And so when we go and do the adrenaline-based one, there'll also be a movie script component to that one. And I think that's what I love about it, is being able to do the experience, the fully immersive theater, and have a movie component which complements the experience. And then so the goal is, we're going to film here in December and then release the film next Halloween, and then hopefully launch the next experience next Halloween.
So when you say film, you're talking film here, or you're going to have like a different location?
No, so the film, the Tension, we have a script that Darren wrote that's called Tension, which basically it's a thriller heist movie that takes place in the immersive theater world.
Okay.
That's without releasing any spoilers.
Yeah.
He already corrected me on that, because I was about to give it away.
Yeah. But it's cool, just being able to branch out from, because you guys started, I love the way you guys started this, where it's like word of mouth and just being very cryptic. And I think I've heard about it before, I just wasn't sure what it was.
So, and again, that was all Darren by design, because he is known as the writer-director of Saw 2, 3, and 4. And we didn't want to come out and do this big, glossy, public announcement that we're doing this immersive theater, because then they're going to associate it as a horror type of experience, and it's not. And so he wanted to grow it and build it organically and build a community. And we have these diehard fans, and to their credit, even on our second website, we had the teaser site just for the signups, and then we had the second site where in some of the coding we put all these different clues. And to everyone's, I was blown away that they found these clues, they found these phone numbers that they had, and we actually had a 24-hour hotline, someone that was actually answering the phone, and people were deciphering it and finding it, and so they found these clues and they were calling. And so that's when we knew people were really thirsty for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so right now, because I think one of my buddies was telling me about it, and I was like, this sounds familiar, once we heard about this, legitimately with the whole LA Times article.
So initially we started, Dread Central picked us up, Bloody Disgusting picked us up, Blumhouse talked about us twice. And what's funny is, at one point they were saying that they thought J.J. Abrams was behind this. Another time they thought that, Blumhouse was behind this, because this is something that they would be doing. And we were, to us that was we were pretty blown away that that's the level that everyone thought this was, and it was kind of cool to see that. And when we started to do the emails to people, and Darren goes, I need an address. We just can't start sending mass emails without having an office on file. It goes like, whose address do you want to use? I go, let's use my business manager's office. So we use my business manager's office. So everyone, there was a good amount of people that were trying to find out who we were. So they got his address, and they show up to my business manager's office, and there's a bunch of movie posters in there. And Mark Canton is a client. Mm-hmm. I'm a client over there. And he sees a movie poster, 300. And so on the message boards, it's like, I think I know who it is. I think Mark Canton is behind this. So the funny thing was that people were actually showing up to the offices, were really trying to find out who we were. Because at one point, they thought we were a cult, and then they thought we could have been ARG, or they thought that this is something else. And so we had actual cults calling us up saying, hey, you guys are treading water here. You better be careful because you're crossing a line. Mm-hmm. And so at some point, we kind of had to let the cat out of the bag. And then so the mainstream press wanted to know more about it because they've read the Blumhouse piece, the Bloody Disgusting piece, the Dread Central piece, and a half a dozen other of the horror genre periodicals. And I think now that LAist came out, who's the other thing? Daily Beast, mm-hmm. and LA Times, and now this thing just blew up tenfold, and it kind of got you guys out here. And
yeah.
Thanks for coming out.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Talking about the different elements that you guys have future plans for, will there ever be like that comedy element, immersive theater? Or is that something you guys are probably going to stay away from?
As a producer, I get seduced by IPs, by certain intellectual properties. I pretty much read everything. That's a creative decision on Darren. I'm pretty much drinking his Kool-Aid at the moment. I gave him complete creative freedom to be the mad scientist that he is and to continue to create. And if he says we're doing this, I'm just going to, follow him and make it happen.
Gordon, is there anything you'd like to say for our listeners?
So this is my first attempt at immersive theater. I'm pretty seduced by this world already, and I'm looking forward to taking you up on your offer on the Delusion tickets.
Yes.
And hopefully we can be as successful as some of the veterans like Blackout and Sleep No More and Alone that have been doing this for many, many years and kind of paved the road and kind of opened up a whole new genre of entertainment that never really existed before. And I think it was super creative and super original to kind of come up with a concept where the participants are also part of the theatrics, and you got to really be present to find out what's going on. And you're going down this rabbit hole, and so you got to find your way out. And the only way you're going to find your way out is if you're present and actually participating. You're not going to get anything out of it if you walk in here like a mute with your mouth closed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm excited. I really hope I could get tickets because I know you guys are selling out quickly.
Thank you. Yeah, we are. And thank God we are.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. It's exciting. And I hope that the people that do come out do appreciate it. And kind of, it's an escape. It's an escape. Movies used to be an escape. TV used to be an escape. And I say used to be because even today, when we're watching a movie, we got our cell phone in our right palm.
Yeah.
Watching TV shows. We're on the internet, we still got our cell phone. And the only time I don't have my cell phone on me is when I'm cooking, right? Mm-hmm. And that's very rare. But when you come into an experience, when you go into these immersive theaters, the one thing that I really love is the no cell phone policy.
Yeah.
Because the phone becomes a social crutch. And I think by going into the experience, you're fully immersed, and you gotta follow clues. You have to interact with people, and you're not gonna get anywhere. You're not gonna get anything out of it with your cell phone in your hand.
Yeah, that's true, because like some of the stuff we've done, I'm like, oh, where's my phone? I wish I had it with me to help me with this problem here.
Yeah.
But without it, you just have to like think on your feet and just do it organically, just by yourself and with your fellow teammates. So and I think that's great.
And touching back on the movies real quick, like, I agree with you that it's not an escape anymore because everybody thinks they're a critic these days, and everybody just goes into the movies trying to nitpick like the smallest thing. So I think being part of a production like this, it really takes them out of that element, like you and Darren said.
for me, and as a filmmaker, everyone always sends me reviews to movies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't read reviews. I'm not going to let a critic decide whether I should go see this movie or not.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm going to go regardless, and I'm going to make my own decisions. And half the times, critics are critics. They can say whatever they want, but it shouldn't stop me from going to see a movie. And then some people rely on the reviews.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if everyone relied on reviews, no one would go to the movie theaters, because 90% of this stuff is 90% of the stuff without getting critical.
Yeah. Sometimes movie reviews can be good, just to let you know, like, hey, this is a movie that you guys may not have heard of, but you should check it out.
To me, it comes down to the marketing and the trailer.
Yeah.
And just the genre. I think I like all types of genre. And so to me, what I'm going to respond to is the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The trailer gets me to go to see a movie, not a review.
Yeah.
It's the marketing, the trailer.
And I think you guys set up this place to a point where it might even be hard to write a review, because someone could write something talking about it, but then everybody's going to come in expecting it, and all of a sudden a wrench is thrown into it, and they're taking on a different path. So I think that's what's really cool about this place.
Thank you.
That you really can put your thumb on it.
Yeah.
So, Gordon, one more time, how can our listeners buy tickets?
You can get tickets at thetensionexperience.com.
Awesome. And they're going for $125, which
$125.
we all agree is a really great price for something like this.
We appreciate that you believe that, and hopefully everyone else says the same. But I think you're going to get a lot of value for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, once again, thanks for being on this podcast with us. And I know Darren had to take off, but we appreciate your time.
Thank you for coming out, and looking forward to seeing you guys back here.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. That's a wrap. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.